Check, guys. I'm not gonna stall check, guys. I missed quite a bunch.
15 last Thursday.
I'm going right straight into it. Straight
The
into it.
Bahamas.
We'll do the
over
one short chat
holidays.
at
But
lunchtime.
I did miss one picture, and Michelle, can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 518?
Early stream, let's go.
And was that accurately depicted we seen portrayed?
XQCL.
Yes, it does. Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of Defendants Exhibit 518.
No objection. All right, 518, defendants and evidence. You can publish.
And this is from December 15, I believe. Could you just please tell
Well, I
me
thought this was gonna be cross.
Yeah, so it's a picture of my bruised temple. And Johnny had his hand on my on part of my face with my face down, and he was punching my head. I'm repeatedly punching my head. That's what caused that bruise in my temple.
Thank you. Now, we went through the Bahamas before. You returned from the Bahamas sometime late December, early January, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take you to January, February of 2016. Can you please describe
looks so
to
weird
the
today.
jury what was going on with you and Johnny in this January
35
timeframe
months.
after
Wow,
this
big
December
pop, big
15
stream.
and the
Hope you are
Bahamas
doing well,
incidents?
Mr. Juicer.
After the Bahamas, Johnny's sobriety fell apart. There was just none of it. It was he stopped communicating
XQCL.
with the medical team that he had hired.
Objection calls for speculation.
How do you know that?
I was there. They fired him.
Objection calls for hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Hey XQC, thanks for
Without
helping
telling
me
what
get
the
through a lot
medical
over the
people
past
did, go
few
ahead and
years.
tell
Oh, thanks
what
for
was
hanging out
going
with
on
us,
with you and Johnny.
Yeah, his mental health, for lack of what it looked like, his mental health was just falling apart. It's what it looked like.
Objection calls for speculation.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll sustain the objection.
What did you observe that led you to believe that his mental health was falling apart?
Jesus.
Objection, Your Honors. Calls for
She
speculation.
can say what she
Leading.
observed.
I'll sustain the objection as to leading. Next question.
What, if anything, did you observe
Jesus.
about Mr. Depp's state?
He was hallucinating, auditory.
Objection calls
Yeah,
for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Please tell the jury exactly what he was doing that led you to believe he was hallucinating.
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if anything, was Mr. Depp doing that would have led you to believe he was hallucinating?
Same objection.
Sustained. Sustained.
Please describe what Mr. Depp was saying in January of 2016.
He was talking to people who weren't there, meaning people who were not in the room. He was communicating with people and sounds and voices that weren't there. I know because I was sometimes in the room and sometimes on the phone with him. And he would tell me I had a conversation with him that I did not have. He would say I said something that I didn't have. He would comment on somebody being in the room behind me that wasn't there. It was terrifying. It was terrifying because, once he smashed a board right next to my face, and it was unclear to me whether he was even mad at me or he was convinced that the guy he said he saw me with was in the room. I didn't know if Johnny felt the man was in the room with us or not at that point. But I remember he put his fist through a whiteboard in the kitchen. He hallucinated right in front of me. And
Objection calls for speculation.
Don't use the word hallucinate. Just describe what led you to believe
Your
that.
Honor, objection.
I'll sustain the objection. She can testify to what she observed.
Please, thank you, Your Honor. Please tell the jury what you
Your
observed.
Honor, may we approach?
Okay.
Chat, how many was that? Like 7 in a row, dude? Holy shit, man. Guys, sorry guys. Guys, this is my fan voice.
Please tell the jury what you observed.
I observed behavior from him that was erratic, irrational, and didn't seem connected to the reality that we were in.
Now, I'm going to take you up to the beginning of February of 2016, February 8, February 9. Please tell the jury what transpired then with respect to Mr. Depp.
I'll close it.
Around this time, Johnny was, again, behaving in a way that was very scary. It was terrifying. And sometimes he didn't know.
Objection calls for speculation.
I think she can describe what she's. What are you describing? What you're observing?
Yes.
Please continue.
In these kind of discussions I would have around this time, early February of 2016, sometimes in the argument he would accuse me of something, some person in the room with me that had just walked out, or I was hiding, for instance. And sometimes he would hold on to that even when he seemed to have calmed down or come off of whatever bender he was on. And it was almost as if I had to confront what delusion he had, or what belief he had, or what accusation he made of me, in a new fight altogether. You know, sometimes he didn't make it clear to me whether he was mad at me or he knew he was mad at me.
The ghosts.
It was terrifying.
Real?
Because I bore the brunt of it.
Real or fake it?
And at around the 8th or 9th, we were in his Sweetser compound, the West Hollywood collection of homes that he has. And I got some cryptic texts from him in the early morning hours that scared me. I won't say what I said, but I came over to his main house. I believe I'd been across the street, and I slept on the couch. We had some interaction in the morning, which made me fearful. He didn't know whether or not, I was fearful he was going to believe that he was angry at me. Even though we weren't fighting, I wasn't fighting with him, I had done nothing wrong, but I was really worried that the momentum he was on was going to click into a direction of deciding that he was mad at me and I deserved it. And I was terrified that that was going to happen. So I had an interaction with him and got really worried about that on the morning of the 10th.
All right. Michelle, I'm going to ask you to bring up Defendants Exhibit 638.
Yeah, blow that shit up.
It's already admitted in evidence, Your Honor.
Michelle, don't stall us out. Just blow that shit up already.
February 10, 2016.
Michelle,
And I'm going to ask you to play it, Michelle.
we're waiting. Same one video. Is this proof of the ghosts or not? Oh wow, the glass isn't breaking. Impressive. Oh my god.
This morning, you know that?
Oh.
Here,
No.
so that nothing happened to you this morning.
Yeah, you're right. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We're not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you this morning? I don't think so.
No, that's the thing.
You want to see crazy? I'll give you a fucking crazy. He's crazy. Oh, you're crazy.
Oh, now we're going wacko mode, boys.
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, watch out. That's
Got this going? Oh, really? Really?
honestly, that's reasonable.
Sweep that shit on me,
No,
motherfucker.
I didn't. You were smashing shit.
That's just kind of reasonable. Sorry. What?
Why did you videotape this, Amber?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Because I knew he wouldn't remember.
Objection
I-
calls for speculation.
Sustain?
Rather than what you knew, you can say what you thought. Just tell us why you...
I was afraid. It was scary. It's scary. Scared. Scared they wouldn't remember.
Objection calls for speculation.
Yeah.
I'll sustain the objection.
Guys, I'm scared. Somebody just broke into my house.
All right. So I'm going to now take you up to April 21,
Holy shit, dude.
2016, your 30th birthday party. Will you please tell the jury what happened that night with respect to, in particular, Mr. Depp?
He at that time we had a fitting that day or the day
What
before.
one is that?
I missed it, and he was kind of disappearing at that time, like at night. Vaguely saying like meetings, he had meetings, but then he'd be gone for sometimes like 2 days. Just not coming home and that sort of thing. Coming home after a bender.
Calls for speculation
Worse.
as to Bender.
I don't think that calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection. He's gone for 2 days. Good.
And I had my birthday was coming up, and or on my birthday I said, "Are you gonna make it to my birthday party?" We had a dinner planned at our penthouse. I said it would be important for me if you made it.
Objection, hearsay.
Not offered to prove the truth of the matter
Overruled.
asserted. Thank you.
And
Overruled.
he told me at some point that day that he had scheduled a business meeting or a money meeting. I think he said maybe 7,
A money meeting.
which is around the time my birthday was planned for. It might have been planned for 8 p.m. He, of course, once my party was starting, he wasn't there. Texted me at some point to let me know that he was going to make it, but that he was running late. And that continued throughout my party. We finished dinner, and we were cleaning up, and kind of everyone was still leaving because we were waiting for to give him an opportunity to show up before everyone left.
It's hard for what she's saying. I'm losing it a little bit.
He let me know he was there. I tried to,
Bah.
without saying what I said, I tried to give him the impression that I wasn't going to get on him about drinking or anything. I just wanted him to be there. And we
Surely.
had a toast. We did a celebratory toast. And the guests left. And later that evening, we were in bed, and I had a book, and Johnny effectively said, "What's your fucking problem now?" And at the time, we were getting advice from therapists without saying what they said. It was important for me not to make him feel attacked. So I chose my words carefully. I won't say what I said, but I remember being very careful about how I worded what I was feeling
Yeah.
about my birthday and him having missed it.
Well, not because
An
hearsay,
argument followed that.
right?
I got up out of bed. Johnny's side of the bed was closer to the door than mine. I remember him blocking the door, blocking me to get out, and kind of shoving me down, and we had a verbal argument, and then that became a shoving match. I tried to shove him back. I kind of felt myself retreat into the bedroom. At some point, he picked up a large, I guess it's a Magnum size, not a normal size, a large size bottle of champagne, and hurled it at me. This time it went through a painting, and I loved this painting. I remember it just went like right through the canvas, left a giant hole in it.
Jeez.
And
Picture?
I remember thinking we shouldn't have art in our bedroom anymore. And the fight continued into the salon area, which is outside of our bedroom at the top of the stairs. Johnny picked up my phone. I don't know why. I don't remember what he was saying when he did it, but he picked up my phone and threw it out of the open window of the salon area out onto the street, out onto the downtown street that this window overlooked. In that moment, I went, "Oh, no, you don't." I saw his on the countertop and picked it up and threw his immediately, like 2 seconds later. I didn't want to be stranded this time alone, meaning I didn't want to be the only one stranded without a phone, which had happened to me already several times before this from Johnny. So I picked up his phone, threw it as well. And I said that I wanted to go stay somewhere else for the evening. I left that room, went into the office. We were still screaming names at each other and screaming at each other. And I walk around the side of his desk, and the next thing I know, he has me by the hair and he pulls me down. Kind of, I hit the side of the desk. I remember things flying off of the side of the desk that I hit with my body. I remember trying to fight him off of me. At some point, we're back in my main bedroom, and I believe I was getting my toothbrush out of that bathroom, and when I came out, we had another shoving match, but this one, he kind of like, I remember he chest bumped me.
She's still getting pulled by the hair or not anymore? I don't know what's happening anymore.
Fell to the floor, and when I got back up, he kind of held me down by the shoulders down on the side of the bed, kind of held me, wrestled me down on the bed. I remember I got up once or twice before I ended up on the bed, and he grabbed me, did this thing that he did sometimes, and he would taunt me, grab me by the pubic bone, pubic area. Just as best I can describe it is he kind of just pushed me down, held me down by it, and kind of pulled me into it, and he was asking me, kind of taunting me, asking me if I thought I was so fucking tough. I think you're such a fucking tough guy, huh? Are you so tough now? Look who's so tough. You want to be a man? Tough like a man now? That happened for a bit of time.
Icebreakers?
Sure. I think at some point he left. I remember at some point shortly after that, I remember he was still in the apartment when this happened, but I remember kind of collapsing on the floor and being exhausted. It's just, I remember feeling exhausted and crying and kind of throwing in the towel, if you will. I remember saying to him, just, can we not fight like this? Like, can we start over? Is there anything that we can do? Like, this is really messed up, but can we just not do this, please? Can we stop doing this? Just don't leave. It's my birthday. Let's just call it couch. Let's call it truce and not have it end like this. I don't want to have it end like this. I was just so tired, hurt, and I remember crying and feeling ridiculous that after this I would be crying and saying these things. I'm embarrassed saying it now. He responded cruelly. He told me it's what I fucking deserve, and that I'd wake up alone, and that no one would ever love me because all of this, pointing to my face or body, all of this was gonna go away. No one would ever love me. My tits sag, no one would ever love me, and I better get used to waking up alone. And he said this was all my fault and what I asked for, and he left. I heard him come back in the downstairs. You know, you can hear the door slam. I remember hearing it open and thinking, oh God, is this gonna happen again? What's going on now? And then shortly after, I kind of peeked around to the top of the stairs where you can kind of peer into the lower level. And I just see him briefly, momentarily, and he just screams at me, "Happy fucking birthday," and stormed out. At some point, I walked downstairs and saw that he had also left me a note to that effect.
Okay.
How did he leave a note for you?
I was written on a piece of paper as best I can recall, but I'm not sure.
Not sure.
And so then the next day, what did you do?
I texted, actually, I can't say what I texted. I woke up that morning, the morning of my 30th birthday, and I woke up to my best friend crawling in bed with me, and putting her arms
This thing she's
around
wearing,
me.
it's not it. She looks
And,
like a dictator almost.
I remember wondering how she walked in, because there was a lot of glass on the floor.
No?
There's lots of glass. And
Oh my
she put her
God.
arms around me and showed me a birthday video that all of my friends, my childhood friends, all of my loved ones made. Of course, stupidly, the first thing I asked her is why Johnny wasn't in the video, because it had been recorded before. It had been recorded
I
sometime
didn't even think
before
about
it was
it.
clear.
He looks like a,
And
yeah.
she said that she'd been asking for a few months, and Johnny just,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I offered to prove the truth.
All right, I'll overrule. Go ahead.
and so we got out of my bed and grabbed a few things and got the dogs, left for our plans, which our plans had been to go to Coachella, which is a music festival that happens in California. And that had been the plan for a while.
Oh my
that
God,
that's how we
bad
would go
chest,
and
she
celebrate
said
my
it.
birthday. And I remember, as I am accustomed to doing, just trying to move on, and remember in vain trying to put on a brave face and have a good time, even though it was impossible.
Let me stop you
Coachella
for a
is
few
just
things. What,
drug-
if any, plans
drugs,
were there
selfies,
for Mr. Depp
networking.
to join you at Coachella?
And
He
pretending.
was supposed to drive down, have dinner, stay in the room, maybe do some writing or something like that in the room.
At Coachella?
At Coachella, where we were. Coachella happens
The
in a
music
different
and-
part of California than we lived in. We lived in Los Angeles, and this happens
If you want to go for music,
2 hours,
it goes to a bunch of other
2 to 3
festivals,
hours
except for
away.
if Coachella stop.
So I finally got in my car back, and I drove with my best friends in the car.
And I'm going to stop you again because I just have a couple more questions before we go into that part. You said you brought the dogs. Who were the dogs you brought?
Johnny's dog, at the time, Boo. My dog, Pistol. We shared them. They're teacup Yorkies, and I believe Raquel, my best friend's dog, which is a mutt.
Okay. What, if any, issues did Boo have with bathroom problems, if you will?
Objection, leading.
Oh,
and
no
relevant.
shots. She's gonna pull the.
Overruled. I'll allow it.
She had eaten Johnny's weed when she was a puppy and had bowel control issues for her entire life, among some other issues. She was, we regularly had to take her to the vet to try to figure out, well, what was wrong with this dog. Never met a dog that was quite like this. So she had some control issues, hence why she liked to burrow in the bed. She liked to be in the, by the foot of the bed underneath the covers. And it was customary that they slept in bed with us, but Boo, having the issues she had, we have to leave her in bed so that she wouldn't be encouraged to go to the bathroom, which would happen almost immediately once you put her down on the floor. And sometimes it happened in bed too. But yeah.
She's gonna blame the
What, if
dog.
anything, did you notice about any bathroom issues in your bed before you left for Coachella?
Well, Raquel and I were both in that bed with the dogs, and I didn't notice anything, but we left them in the bed while we packed a bag to go to Coachella, so that Boo particularly didn't lose control of her didn't go to the bathroom on the floor. So you leave them in bed until you're ready to take them outside to the patio, which is their designated.
That doesn't even make
break
sense.
area.
That did what?
And what, if any,
What is it? What?
plans were there? How often did you have housekeeping at that time at your house?
The housekeepers were there every morning, or they came every day, as far as I know.
Okay. Now, we'll get you to Coachella, but why did you tell Starling Jenkins that you had been involved in a prank gone wrong?
Objection, hearsay, leading.
I said why,
Combo.
Your Honor. I didn't say what she said.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay. Did you commit any kind of prank?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And why
Objection cap.
would
That's hard cap.
that not be something you would do?
First of all, I don't think that's funny. I don't know what
Says
a grown
you.
woman does. I was not also in a pranking mood. My life was falling apart. I was at a crossroads in my life that was really serious, and I had just been attacked on my 30th birthday
So you go to Coachella?
by my violent husband with whom I was desperately in love and knew I needed to leave. It was not really a jovial time, and I don't think that's funny, period. That's disgusting.
And what, if any, understanding did you have of Mr. Depp coming back to your bedroom
Yikes.
that night or the next morning?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm asking what her understanding was.
No, I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Had you had any conversations with Mr. Depp about him coming back to the house the next day?
No, Johnny didn't come back to that house. That was my, he owned it, but that was my house when we were having any sort of problem. In fact, that was my house just 90% of the time because
Oh,
he just
Jesus.
didn't come
Look at-
back. That was not a place that Johnny was going to be in, that Johnny was in, and he had stormed out on my birthday, and as per what we did, he would go and stay at his West Hollywood home, and I would stay at the downtown places. He wasn't going to come back to the
Objection
Eastern
calls for
Columbia.
speculation.
Dude,
I think she explained her answer on that
Okay.
one. What she
that
said.
was the face
Okay,
entitlement I've
question.
ever seen one. Holy shit.
All right.
The
So
face that
let's
she's
take you
making
to
while saying that,
Coachella.
it just
Who
screams
drove?
entitlement.
I drove.
Okay. And who was in your vehicle?
My sister, my friend Savannah, I believe, my best friend Raquel, just my girlfriends. I typically surround myself with my girlfriends. It's my sport.
Was there any occasion in which you were riding in the vehicle that Starling Jenkins was driving?
He picked us up from Coachella in the evening when we, as a group, all were ready to leave. That was the day that we went, which was the day that I took MDMA and mushrooms at the same time. Realized very shortly after what a horrible idea that was.
It's not.
Considering the state that
It
my
is.
life was in. I highly don't recommend that combination at the time. So I didn't feel like being in a crowd. I didn't feel like being at Coachella. I had intended to try to have a good time despite what was going on in my personal life. And I realized that was just not going to happen. And so I wanted to go home. Meaning to be in a bed. I wanted to be, I just wanted to be held by my best friend and watch a movie. And that's what we did. I didn't feel well and wanted to leave.
And when you said you rode back with Starling Jenkins, was it just you, or did you have other people in the vehicle with you?
And when we left Coachella, it was my entire group. I wasn't ever alone with Starling. I certainly wasn't anywhere near him. I didn't have a conversation with him.
It's
I sat in the
sad.
very back seat with my best friend next to me, and it was a whole group of us.
Thank you. Your Honor, I don't know,
Okay.
this might be a good breaking point.
All right, that's fine. Okay, ladies, let's go ahead and take our morning recess. Do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research. We'll take 15 minutes, okay?
Interesting. How long is it behind us was some of the stuff that we missed earlier? I ain't standing up, bro. I just woke up. I can't stand up right now. No bitches? Well, I have to go wash my hands.
All right, we'll just come back then at 10:50. Is that okay? All right, 10:50.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I have to go wash my hands. My excuse now, what? You guys, that's what friends, hold up. bitches? No bitches? Okay. Okay. Chad, did anything good earlier or not?
Do you recall that, trying to move the case to California?
Yes, there was a declaration in 2019.
All right, and did you describe some of the events of violence in that declaration?
Objection leading.
What, if anything, was said about violent acts in that declaration?
I was taking the advice.
Comes out. Sure.
The plan from IKEA? What kind of plan from IKEA? No, dude, I left that shit home. I left that shit in California, dude. Dude, what do I look like? Do I look like a somebody who takes the plane and brings a fucking fake plant from IKEA that's like $4, some shit? Some fucking fake plastic plant, and like, I travel the world with it? Like, oh my god, guys, that's my therapy plant or some shit. I carry it on my back or something and put it under my seat in the fucking airplane. What do I look like? Fucking, I was like, so psycho or something like that? Fuck is wrong with you, man? Let's get this motherfucker. What, man? What are you talking about? Yeah, that was English. That was pretty English. Bruh. Guys, this outfit is just not it. That was a very, very poor choice. Holy shit. It's just not it. This is not Kim Jong-un drip. Oh man, I'm so twisted these days, man. Guys, dude, I had this clip playing in my head, dude. I had this audio, dude. I'm not gonna say it.
Thank you. Good
Stop,
morning, ladies and
stop.
gentlemen. Thank you for being so
How?
punctual this morning. I appreciate it for the early start. All right. Just a reminder, Ms. Hurt, you're still under oath, okay? All right. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Amber, when did the first
You
act
linked it.
of physical
I'm not gonna
violence
click
by
it.
Mr. Depp occur?
Objection asked and answered.
Lag?
No, overruled. Go ahead.
That would have been early 2012.
And how did you determine this?
What is lagging?
I reviewed my therapist's
Objection
notes.
hearsay.
She hasn't even answered it, Your Honor.
All right. I'll allow the answer.
By reviewing my therapist's notes.
Objection
All right.
hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, but it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It's explaining
Wait, what is this?
what she looked at.
I'll sustain the objection.
Wait.
Okay. When did you earlier believe the first act of physical violence occurred?
Well, I had always believed, up until recently, that it had started later, that the violence started around early 2013, not early 2012.
Now, you testified earlier that the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp related to the Winona Wino
It's a good
tattoo.
song,
Do
though.
you recall that testimony?
I do.
Okay. Does that change your testimony, realizing that this is earlier? Was this, in fact, still the first act?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
That is the jammer though.
What was the first act?
jammer.
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Guys, why is this lagging so badly? I don't know what's going on with it. Live view solo.
I'm embarrassed to say that.
Now, you testified that the police were called multiple times. Other than the May 21, 2016, what other occasions were there where the police were called?
They were called in December of 2011. They were called in 2012. They were called in 2013 in March by the landlord. I had sought advice from Laurel Anderson as to whether I should call the police following
Objection,
the December.
hearsay.
Sustain.
Okay. When you filed
Yes,
the
what the
domestic
fuck is
violence
that?
temporary restraining order, how many acts of abuse did you allege at that time?
I gave the last couple, I
Who
believe,
the fuck linked this?
last two incidents, maybe three.
And why didn't you tell of all the acts of abuse at that time?
I was following advice from my counsel.
How many instances of abuse were
Actually,
included in
stop.
the UK trial?
It's
There were
John.
14 acts of physical abuse and violence and 3 acts of sexual abuse.
And why were those 17 included in the UK trial?
Well, I was not a party, a direct party. I was a witness, so it was whatever their counsel, the Sun Council, chose.
Okay. When is the first time you were called upon to provide a detailed accounting of as many times as you could recall of physical and sexual abuse by Mr. Depp?
Objection, hearsay.
That's not hearsay, Your Honor. I'm asking her when she was called upon to do so.
Well, the objection is hearsay.
Right, but it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, and it's just asking for date.
All right, overruled.
Thank you.
A few months ago, February in 2022, this year, was the first time I was asked to do so, other than cold in a deposition.
Chat, guys. I think the early game was really bad.
Okay.
Early game,
And
not as
when
interesting.
you were
I
asked-
think we'll just put some flash for a little bit, for like 9 minutes. Now that I think about it, I like the wizard a lot. I think the wizard might be
Addicted to
better
Becca?
than Becca.
How about you beck on my dick?
Now that I think about it, I think the wizard and the goblins are very, very strong units to use. I'm just kidding, dude. Okay, let's see it. Wait, you don't call him Becca? Why not? How do you say that? Pekeka? That is not. Oh my god, dude. Jeez, dude. Somebody needs to use a. Somebody needs.
Fucking help me, please. It's Harry Potter. Chaz locked me in the room under his fucking stairs.
So. Chat, guys, chat. Yo, Leacox, link it. Noise Lord looks like it. Link it. Leacox, link it. She's in bed. Oh, dude. What? Dude, give us the memes, man. Guys. See, guys, with the glasses shot, what does it look like?
What, if any, contact did you have with Mr. Depp during the period from April 21 to May 21, 2016?
I had no physical contact with him.
Okay. I'm going to take you to May 2nd, 2016, the Met Gala. Can you please just briefly describe to the jury what a Met Gala is, where it is, and what's involved?
It's arguably the biggest fashion
Shit show?
kind of celebrity event, red carpet event of the year. It happens every year in New York City.
It's like a ritual circle
And
jerk.
were you invited?
I was invited. Typically, designers will invite people in the public eye to be their, guest, and they will typically dress them, and it's a way for designers or fashion to kind of intersect with a celebrity world, and it's a big event held at the museum every year.
And what, if anything, did you and Mr. Depp do to prepare for that Met Gala?
Well, Johnny and I were, we were dressed by Ralph Lauren, guests of Ralph Lauren, and Johnny missed the fitting because it was happening around the date of my birthday party in Los Angeles. But we were planning on going together as Ralph Lauren's guests.
Okay. And did you show up?
I did. I didn't have a phone at the time because I couldn't get it reinstated after Johnny threw it out of the window because no one on his team would respond to me. So I had no way to kind of reinstall it. I had, it's no point in getting a burner phone if you don't know anyone's phone number. So I wasn't sure really what was going on or when he would show up or if he would show up. No one would talk to me on his team. No one would tell me. I didn't know. So I ended up going
I have
by
burners.
myself. Frankly, I wasn't sure if he'd show up and, on the carpet or if he'd show up at the hotel shortly before. I had no way of knowing.
And then did you attend the Met Gala?
I did. I got out of the car and walked the red carpet by myself, escorted by somebody from Ralph Lauren's team. And I sat next to an empty place setting for Johnny they cleared as soon as we realized that he effectively stood me up on the carpet.
Who did you meet at the Met Gala?
I was standing in line right in front of a gentleman. It was Elon. I didn't recognize him until we started talking. And he had reminded me that we had met once before. He was with his mother.
Okay. And did you strike up a friendship with Mr. Musk after that?
We did. We, as I mentioned, we spoke on the red carpet, kind of on in the waiting line of the carpet. He seemed like a real gentleman. He was really nice, and he sat next to me. Well, not next to me. He sat kind of at a nearby table, and we got to speaking that night, and then eventually became friends.
Okay. I'm going to, Michelle, can you pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 46? It's already in evidence. It's Aaron Filati's notes. And I'm going to ask you to go to page 30.
You know exactly what time it is, chat.
XQCL.
And I'm going to direct your attention to the entry for 5/11/2016, where it says, if I can see, here we go. Let me see if I can do some reasonable highlighting here. Okay, it says client laughed and also reported using illicit drugs, mushrooms and MDMA on 5/9/2016 at home with a high-profile male acquaintance. Client reported that her husband was not aware of the male visitor nor her illicit drug use.
I thought she hated MDMA and didn't do it
Yes,
anymore
I do.
after the plane incident.
Who was the high-profile male
But
acquaintance
she did twice
that
after.
visited your home on 5/9/2016?
I don't recall even being in LA at that time.
Where were you?
I don't
What's
recall.
up?
I believe I was in London at the time.
Okay. Did you have a male high-profile
Yeah, I got
client at your home in or
Yeah, yeah.
around 5/9/2016?
Not around that date. It seems like it's a wrong date.
Okay, and did you use illicit drugs, mushrooms, and MDMA with any high-profile client?
No, I did that at the Coachella Music Festival, and that was the end of that. I learned the hard way that that was a terrible idea.
All right. Well, while we are on the
Nick locked himself out.
these same notes, I'm going to refer to the Coachella, which is up above, and it says it states she ingested mushrooms and MDMA simultaneously while also consuming alcohol, and states she vomited and was high for at least 24 hours straight.
Okay, that's not a thing, yeah.
Were you high for at least 24 hours straight?
No, I was not. I felt awful, but I was at home feeling awful. At home meaning at the hotel with my best
Thing, it's
friend in
not.
bed.
Okay. Well, while I'm still on these notes, let's go. I know while Aaron Filati was testifying, we recall the 5/21/2016 isn't on here.
This chat.
You sent her pictures, correct?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Then let's go to 5/26/2016, and it says, client reports having the hardest week of my life. Client states she cannot deal with the negative media publicity she has received. And then if we can jump that up, Michelle, to the next page, surrounding the divorce she requested from her husband, JD. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. When did you go in for the DVTRO?
May 27th.
So that was the day after Aaron Filati's note saying you just had the toughest week of your life?
That's correct.
Okay. While we are still on this one, let's go up to
What?
the first page for the client history. When did you provide a client history to Aaron Filati?
Never.
When did you first get assigned Aaron Filati?
I believe September of 2014.
Okay. Now it says here that client reports a history of substance abuse, including an addiction to cocaine and liquor. When did you have a history of substance abuse, including addiction to cocaine and liquor?
I did not. There's a lot of mistakes in here.
Okay. Did you ever use cocaine?
Mistakes.
I have. I used cocaine a few times when I was 18, 19 years old.
Okay, cap. Just cap.
But stopped using any drugs, including
Hardcore
cocaine when
cap,
I got into a relationship
please.
with my ex-partner. She was very against that, and I'm glad for it.
Okay. Then it also says here that
XQCL.
I'm going to move up a little. Here we go. Client admits to history of anxiety, eating disorder, attention deficit disorder, bipolar disorder, codependence issues, and occasional insomnia. When have you had an eating disorder?
I've never had an eating disorder.
When have you
What is that?
been
What is that face?
diagnosed
What is that
with
face?
bipolar disorder?
I've never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Chad, this reads like a
When
fucking.
have you been diagnosed with
modern Twitter bio.
codependence issues?
I have never been diagnosed with codependency issues, although arguably at the time, from where I stand now, I can see that the relationship I was in with Johnny was certainly codependent.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have reported that at the time. I didn't know about that.
All right. and
Or
then
her
can
voice
we move up
changed.
a little bit more, Michelle? Thank you. It has, per report from JD, Debbie RN, Dr. Kipper, client AH has reportedly been experiencing increased anxiety and agitation recently and has had several outbursts of anger and rage. Were you present for this being reported to Ms. Filati?
No, this is the detox.
Okay.
This is Johnny's.
And it also says your mood has been labile. What, if any,
3
outbursts of
hours
anger and
spoken.
rage and labile mood did you exhibit during the detox?
None that she would have seen. None. I was there for Johnny's detox. This is what Johnny was going through. This is not me.
Okay. And
Wow,
at the
okay.
time of the detox, was Erin Filati your nurse yet?
No, I didn't know her, and she wasn't there.
Okay. Thank you very much. You can take this down, Michelle. Now, I'm going to take you to May 21, 2016.
Why, so the doctors are wrong and they're lying?
And I'd like you to describe for
Why?
the jury what took place that evening in connection with Mr. Depp.
Why would the doctors lie?
Johnny and I had not seen each other for the better part of a month, or about a month. I was traveling. I had just shot a campaign in Italy. I spoke to him
Because she said so. Got
around
it.
that
Case
time
closed.
when I was in Italy. I had gotten a phone. My parents got a hold of me. After I spoke to my parents, I had communicated with Johnny. On that phone call, I didn't know what was going on with him for those weeks. With his sobriety, I didn't know where his state was. I didn't know what state he was in. And when I spoke to him, he was saying what I can only he was going on about scientists and DNA and feces, that he had some scientific analysis done and DNA analysis done, and that, as soon as I heard about this feces, he thought that was a prank, and he was going on about all the scientists that he had conferred about the DNA results with. I just thought he was out of his mind, and thought clearly the drinking and the drugs are not getting better. Clearly the delusions aren't better. So
Objection calls for speculation.
Your Honor, it's not about the truth of the matter. I'm talking about what her...
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Please continue.
So I hung up from that phone call.
I died. That's not funny at all.
Assuming that, and then spoke to him once my parents got a hold of me to tell me about Betty Sue. We made a plan, Johnny and I, for him to come over. He said he really needed his wife. He'd lost his mother and he missed his wife. He really needed his wife. He said it over and over again. I felt torn. I felt conflicted. I didn't think, obviously, the situation hadn't gotten better with Johnny mentally, and I was afraid that all the work and progress and distance I had finally got on the relationship for the first time. I had a month of distance on it, I didn't want that to be undone, but I also wanted to be, I was affected by the fact that his mother had passed. So he said he wanted to come over and talk about that, and he said he needed his wife, and we made a plan. We made a plan for him to come over during the day, thinking that might mitigate the amount that he would be drinking. Night is a little bit more dangerous. And in the early evening hours, I get a text from him that he's almost there, or that he's there. I think it was around 7:15 or so. And he came over, and we sat on the couch, and at first it was relatively peaceful. I could tell he was inebriated, but it makes sense. In my head, it made sense.
Stop.
He wasn't like incoherent. It was peaceful. And then he starts talking about the feces again, and this prank that he said one of my friends had left for him in my bed that he wasn't going to be at. And I tried to point out how that didn't make any sense. I'm not even going to be there. I wasn't there. And my friends wouldn't do that. That's not something a bunch of 30-year-old women think is funny. What is he talking about?
Okay, but that poop though, it looks
kept
human.
going on and on
Just
about
stop.
it. So I text my friend that it's...
Objection, hearsay.
Yeah.
Don't tell the jury what you texted your friend, but go to the next thing. What did you do next?
I called my friend thinking that it would quell this, what I could only see as a delusion. I thought it was just a delusion he was having, and I thought, I'll hopefully, quell this by calling my friend to if he hears my friend say that didn't happen.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
It's not offering to prove the truth of it. Thank you. Please continue.
So I thought if I could get my friend on the phone to prove that this didn't happen, we could move on and talk about the issues that we should be talking about.
Surely she's going to prove it on the phone.
Our marriage was over and falling apart in front of our eyes. We hadn't seen each other for a month, and his mom had just passed. I couldn't believe he wanted to talk about feces. So I call this friend thinking that we'll take care of it. The friend doesn't answer.
Perfectly irrelevant if it's
I call another friend who is someone else he claimed. I don't know how both people did this, but he was claiming that this person was responsible. So I called that person. And that person is on speakerphone. and I
Tell
say,
us who that person is.
Io.
Io, tell it right?
Io, tell it right.
Okay. And then you put
Who the
him on
fuck is
speakerphone
called
with Johnny.
Ayo? Tell
Right
it
in
right.
front of Johnny.
Okay. And what happened next?
I allowed for an opportunity for Io to say why this is impossible.
Objection,
It's
hearsay.
not offered to prove the
Hey,
truth
yo,
of the matter.
tell it
It's
right.
asserted, Your Honor. It's explaining the context that leads to the next acts.
Who the fuck is that?
It is being offered
We're
to
not
prove that
here. We're not here about whether Io.
I'll sustain
on
the
the back.
objection. Next question.
All right. All right. So Io is talking. You can't tell us what he said. Okay.
Objection,
He's
Your
talking,
Honor.
correct?
May we approach?
Okay.
Dude, I wish this lady, okay, I wish her lawyers stopped doing that. Where whenever they get objection comboed, they start mauling and crying. Like displaying this, like, oh my god, this is so annoying. Oh my god, the rules in courts?
So,
Oh, what is this?
Io is talking.
Why did they do that?
We can't say what he said. What is the next thing that happens on your end with Mr. Depp?
It just made Johnny madder. He got more upset, grabbed the phone, and started screaming at Io. He just started screaming at the top of his lungs, said, "You dyke bitch, you don't know what you're talking," just screaming expletives, insulting names, and telling Io that he can have me and, fuck off, and just screaming at him. That's best I can describe it without getting into the details. He tosses the phone, down on the couch
Again.
and heads upstairs. I pick up the phone and try to, apologize for the fact that my husband at the time just screamed at my friend on a cold call. I didn't want Io to think that's why I had called Io, to just be screamed at and blamed for something that sounded crazy, for lack of a better explanation. It sounded crazy. Io said something to me on speakerphone, and reminded me I wasn't safe.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter. It's to show what caused Mr. Depp to be set off and come back. I mean, it's not offered to prove the truth of what he's saying.
Stop doing
It's
that with the
not
mic, bro.
hearsay in that
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Thank you. Please tell us what Io said and what then happened with Mr. Depp.
Guys, she slammed.
Io
You see
said,
that?
"Amber,
She slammed.
Get out of the house. Get out of the house now. You're not safe. Get out of that house." Io had been there after the cleanup, or for the cleanup after December 15th, 2015 incident, and had
Objection,
washed
Your Honor,
blood out of my
non-responsive.
pillowcases.
I think she can provide the
I'll
context.
sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay, so please
Too
continue.
late. Too late. She kept
Johnny
talking.
hears this when he's on
She
the
kept
stairs.
talking.
He made it up one flight of stairs, heard this, turned around, came bolting down the stairs, grabbed the phone from my hand, and really started screaming this time. Lit into Io, called Io every imaginable horrible name that you can say to a LGBTQIA person, for one, and any person, any human being ever. I mean, just screamed at Io some really nasty stuff. And when he was done, he says, you want to have my woman now. You want to have my bitch. You can have, you take her, you can have her. And he, with that, picks up, just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face. Hit me right in it felt like my eye. I put my head in my hands and immediately start crying. I said, "You hit me with the phone. Johnny, you hit me." And I'm sitting on the couch. I didn't even have time to react, I didn't even have time to put my hands up. I was still sitting cross-legged in my socks
Literally the same
on
storytelling.
the couch, and I haven't seen him for a month, and several times now that I've seen him, he's hit me, and I didn't even have time to react to this. He comes over to me
The dog stepped on a bee.
as I'm crying, and he does that taunting thing to me. He says, "Oh yeah, I hit you, huh? I hit you, yeah?" And he just feels like whacks me on top of my head. Just this heavy ringed hand landed on top of my skull, grabs me by the hair, yanks me up off the couch. I'm struggling to stand up. And I don't know if he was intending to hit me in the face or if he was just trying to grab my face, but he was making this gesture around my face to try to expose my face to him. And he was like, "Yeah, let me see how bad I hurt you. Let me see it. Let me see how bad I hurt you this time. What if I pull your hair back? What if I pull your hair back?" And he yanks my hair back. I'm trying to prevent him from landing the blows to my face. I'm trying to prevent my face from being exposed. And I just remember this mocking taunt he was doing with me as he is yanking me around the room. And then I hear my friend come into the room. I hear her. Johnny hears her too. He lets go of me and turns. And
Just tell the jury who your friend is.
Raquel, my best friend at the time, who lived in the neighboring apartment, she came in, and Johnny moved towards her, and she ran towards me. Johnny looked at her, looked at me. I retreated to the only place I had to go, which is the corner room where the couch was. I retreated kind of to the couch, and
Is she testify?
Raquel and Johnny both ran up to me. Raquel got in front of Johnny. She kind of managed to get right in front of him, in between he and I. And I'll never forget it. Just very slowly, calm, in just a very slow but very concentrated, very controlled, slow way. Just put both of her arms, her hands up like this, and like I've seen people do with horses. That's what it reminded me of. She just went, "No, no, Johnny, no." And she just got in front of us, in between us, put both of her palms out.
Fucking Jurassic
Johnny
World.
kind of squared off to her, ran into her arms, and she just repeated herself very slowly, very calmly, very directly. He hit both of her arms off of his chest like that.
Sorry.
And barreled towards me. I instinctively curl up on the couch, and I just feel her arms come around me, next to me. She was sitting on my left next to me on the couch. I just feel her arms around me. And I'm just looking down at the carpet, feeling her arms. And that's when Johnny, who I can see partially and hear, is right in front of me, and he's screaming at me to get the fuck up. "Amber, get the fuck up. Amber, get the fuck up. Amber, get the fuck up." And every single time he said it, he's screaming it louder and louder and louder. I think he screamed it probably about 10 times, so loudly.
Jesus.
The next thing I hear is, "Boss, boss." And I realize that his 2 security guards had come into the apartment after Raquel. I see them or hear them, and Johnny turns to them, and I see Jerry say, "Boss, boss." And I get up off the couch, and I say to Jerry,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted at all.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right.
Next one.
So don't tell us what you said to Jerry, just what happened next.
then they tell him something. And he picks up the bottle that I guess he walked in with. It was a
This is
Magnum.
Mr. Depp or Jerry?
I'm sorry, Johnny.
Okay.
What bottle?
And starts smashing things off the nightstand, the coffee table, starts screaming.
What is that? What does that
and
mean?
it kind of, I feel them kind of corral him. I'm not making direct eye contact, but I
But
can
this is
kind
what-
of just
no, this is the
sense
wrong
and
script.
feel and sound and hear things smashing as he exits the apartment, kind of knocking things off the countertops.
She
and,
skipped a chapter.
breaking things on the way. I realize he's punching something. I assume it was the picture because it broke right after he walked past it. And he leaves that apartment. I hear him in the hallway, still screaming. I hear more doors opening, more racket. Eventually, Josh, Raquel's husband, comes into the room and brings me to safety, brings Raquel and I to safety in their apartment. And that's where I stayed for the next few hours.
Okay.
So who called the police?
Yo, you're crazy. They fixed 100
I
UFOs,
believe it
man.
was
Just
Objection calls for
anonymous.
speculation.
Your Honor, this is not, we
Big
have
love,
to
man. You can
have
do
the
anything, man. Just hanging out
context
with us,
here
man.
of
Wherever
somebody
you are, man.
called
Big
the
love, dude.
police, because then the police come. So I think we have to put, I mean, it's not offered again to prove the truth of the matter asserted, it's just who called the police.
Your Honor, the objection is not hearsay. It's speculation.
Do you know who called the police?
Yes, I do now.
I'll sustain the objection.
All
Next
right.
question.
Did you have a were you present when there was a discussion about calling 911?
Objection calls for hearsay.
I'm asking if she was
I'll
present.
sustain the objection. Next question.
Did you call 911?
No.
Okay. Did Rocky call 911?
Objection calls for speculation.
Do you know whether Rocky called 911?
I do know whether she did.
And did she?
She did not.
Okay. All right. So what happens, when did you learn that the police had been called?
Roughly an hour, at some point shortly after Johnny and his security guards left.
Okay. And what did you do as a result of knowing that the police were coming?
I felt panicked. I didn't know what to do because I didn't know what they were going to do when they saw the state of the place. He'd also smashed up the other apartment where I kept all my things. So I didn't know what they were going to do. And I panicked. I called the only lawyer I have, which is my entertainment lawyer. He does like my movie contracts and stuff. And I asked him for advice.
And then without telling what he said, what happened next?
I called a domestic relations attorney after that conversation.
That makes no sense at
Had you
all.
known this domestic relations attorney before then?
No, I did not.
Did you get that name from your entertainment attorney?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when you called the domestic relations attorney, without saying what she said, what did you do as a result?
I told the police officers who arrived that I would not
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Again, not offered to prove the truth of the
No,
matter.
no, let her talk. I want to hear this.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Thank you.
She's throwing it.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I repeated to the officers, I refuse to cooperate at this time at the advice of my attorney.
Okay. Did you call your publicist that night?
What?
No.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to take a look at some pictures, but before I get there,
Yeah, you shouldn't
I
tell the
want to
police, but
just
if
ask
you're
you
if you're a
couple of
victim and you
questions
give a
leading up.
statement, then
What were you doing when the police officers arrived?
When, at that time when
no.
after
Am I wrong
learned
about
that
am
they
I wrong
were
about this?
coming, my best friend took pictures of me. We took pictures of the house and my face.
Okay. I'm going to, and did your best friend take any pictures while the officers were there?
We took pictures before and while they were there and after.
Okay.
We took pictures throughout.
Okay. So I'm going to take you now, Michelle, can you bring up
Blow it up.
Defendants Exhibit 706? I think we can do the native on this one. Yes, thank
No,
you.
I understand it.
Does this accurately depict the scene portrayed?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of defendant 706.
No objection.
706 in evidence and published.
And would you please describe to the jury what this is a picture of?
This is my face after Johnny threw a phone at it.
Okay. I'm going to now, Michelle, ask you to pull up defendant's 708.
708, okay.
And does this accurately depict the scene portrayed in this picture?
Yes, it does.
All right. And I also see that there is a little, what we call metadata item on there. How do you get that on a picture?
Give me
How
some
does
yes.
that happen? Can you just describe briefly?
Objection, Your Honor. That's speculation, lack of foundation.
Give me CBS, BBC, BBC, BDD. They usually have it. DVD, PVC, ABD, ABC, WXYZ. Give me? Yes, I'm not kidding. Can you something like it, please? Fucking cocklords. Okay, guys, I don't mind being wrong about this. I am genuinely inquiring out of ignorance, okay? If something happens and you are genuinely the victim and there's a big problem like that and a crime has been committed and the police comes up, isn't it at your best advantage to cooperate with the police as a victim and give a statement on the fly instead of just waiting and... No? Sometimes it doesn't help. Dude. If you're the victim of something and something genuinely happened, right? How can it hurt? You're in danger, and it's a problem.
This particular item on here got onto the pictures.
It's a feature that was on iPhotos, you know, where your pictures are stored on your phone. Typically, you just push info.
And was that pushed in these instances?
I
of
pushed
these pictures?
info, and that's what came up.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of
doesn't help?
defendants
Okay.
708.
Any objections?
I know.
Your Honor, I would just ask the picture be redacted on hearsay grounds
Your Honor, I
for the metadata,
Okay, if you want to
alleged
approach
metadata.
again. Okay.
Guys, give me guys, give me the other broadcast that has the pictures on it. Thank you. They don't have it either. It's not published yet. Got it. Metadata is the information that a picture or piece of evidence has that isn't just the picture itself.
Okay,
Like the
that's
date
fine.
it's been taken, if it's been like altered, the time, the location.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move the admission of 708 with the redaction, Your Honor.
Okay, any objection to that?
There still needs to be another redaction at the top, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll get it.
You can edit metadata.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Thank
it'll
you.
show in the metadata though. Right?
Okay, 708 with the redactions, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. And I would also like the record to reflect that
What?
we're publishing this to the jury.
Yes, no objection, correct?
Okay.
Yes. There we go.
Okay. I would like the record to reflect that this was the photo that was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon. as
Objection, Your
Exhibit
Honor.
20
That is-
Your Honor, we
that
couldn't
is
put him in
inappropriate, Your
because
Honor.
we hadn't identified him. Now the jury should be entitled to know which photo
Your Honor,
was
we ask
shown
that we
as that
approach-
exhibit.
Okay, we can approach. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, her lawyers keep doing that, and it annoys the fuck out of me, right? I feel like they're trying to like sneak in information or sneak in some bullshit as they're talking, as an objection is made, so that the jury knows that it's happening. Yeah, and they can probably strike it, whatever, and redact whatever, but it doesn't matter. Damage has been done.
So
I don't
for
agree
the
with that.
record, this particular photo was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as Exhibit 24 in both of the depositions that were shown earlier, where the pictures were not allowed to be shown yet because they hadn't been admitted. Amber, will you please describe for the jury what is depicted in this photo?
Yes, that's a picture of my face taken that evening, shortly before 9:30, after Johnny hit me with the phone.
Okay. Now we can take this one down and let's go to Defendants Exhibit 709. And based on the court's ruling, I'm going to ask if you can redact that. Michelle, please.
Michelle? Dude, Michelle needs to raise it, I'm just gonna say it.
I move the admission of 709.
All right, any objection?
Not with redactions,
All right,
thank you.
709 with redactions and evidence, you can publish.
If it could be published to the jury, Your Honor, thank you.
Yes.
And Your Honor, for the record, this is the photo that was shown to Officer Sines and to Officer Haddon as Exhibit 25 for both of their depositions.
Okay.
Amber, could you please describe for the jury?
What about,
what's
I thought she
depicted
didn't
here?
cooperate.
That is my face after the phone incident. It's that night.
All right, let's bring Defendant 710, please.
The phone incident. Troll despair. Farnham X.
And Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Exhibit 710. The redactions have been already placed
All right.
on it.
Any objection?
No objection,
All
thank
right,
you.
710 with redactions, you can publish.
If we could publish, Your Honor. And for the record, this photo was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon. It was Exhibit 26 for both of their depositions. And please describe for the jury what's depicted here, Amber.
That is my face in yet a different light that same evening after Johnny hit me with the phone.
Okay. Let's
I'm
go ahead
confused.
and go to Defendant's Exhibit 711.
Because I'm confused. I thought she didn't cooperate. So how did she get those pictures? Was it later on? Did they take the pictures? How did this happen? I wonder, why can't we know about this?
And I'm going to move the admission of 711, Your Honor, with the redactions.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 711 with redactions.
sent
and
them.
evidence, publish.
And for the record, Your Honor, for the jury's purposes, this was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as Exhibit 27 to both of their depositions.
The Jewish
Could you
purposes?
describe what's depicted here, Amber?
Yes, that is another angle, another lighting of my face.
Hey,
after the
guys,
phone.
it's dude. I was
And
reading.
when
I
you-
was reading the
And
prompts.
when you say angular lighting, what did Rocky do in taking these pictures?
Objection calls for speculation.
I said, what'd she do?
So overrule.
Thank you.
Raquel took pictures of my face in various places around the penthouse. The apartments have really different lighting, you know.
So why doesn't
really
Raquel
dark in some
testify?
places. Anyway, so we just took pictures in different lighting so that we had an accurate portrayal and depiction of what had happened.
And why did you take the pictures?
Raquel did it to protect me because the cops were coming, and we knew we knew that the police. I think at this point that they were already here. They were with us, but we weren't. Maybe this was right before. I'm not quite sure without seeing the timestamp.
Then why none of the police take the pictures? Wouldn't that solidify our case?
What was going to happen? What the police were going to say? What they were going to do? We didn't know what Johnny was going to do. What he was going to say. So she wanted to protect me.
Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up 712.
I'm confused. Guys, I'm just gonna say to you guys, I don't trust Raquel. Her and Raquel, they seem to be up to something to no good. The poop incident, the photo incident, the club incident, Raquel seems to be up to some bullshit,
Any
man.
objection?
No, thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, 712 with redactions, you can publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. And please describe what's depicted here.
That is another picture of my face,
Okay.
taken around the same time.
Okay. And then let's go to 713.
That's I'll take it away or whatever the fuck. Is it?
Move the admission of 713, Your Honor.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 713 with redactions, you can publish.
And for the record, this one was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as well as Exhibit 29 to both of their depositions. And just describe briefly to the jury what this is.
This is another picture of my face taken at the exact same time and in the same location as the other one, just with one of the lights turned on, or an additional light turned on in the previous one.
Wait, what?
Let's go to 714.
What?
Okay.
No shot one light does that.
Admission of
Just
714, Your
no,
Honor.
absolutely no shot. Just stop.
No objection.
All right, 714 with redactions, you can publish.
That is
And-
bogus.
Please tell the jury what this depicts.
This is another angle of my face or another picture of my face taken at a different time. I don't know if this is later or before because I can't see the time on it.
Okay. You take that down. Let's go to 715.
Guys, I don't mean to discredit anything. I'm trying to remain as impartial as
Move the
possible.
admission of 715, Your Honor.
Why does
No
Raquel
objection.
All right, 715 with redactions.
she's not to testify about the abuse or
Thank you.
whatever?
And for the record, this one was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as Exhibit 17 for both. Please describe for the jury what's depicted here.
That is a picture of my face. Some point later on in the night, it looks like that was taken in Rocky's apartment or in the apartment that she was staying in.
Okay. And let's go to 716.
Is that with the light, with the makeup, with the studio light, with the camera, with the 4K, with the fucking red hot juicer, with the 4X? What is this? Which picture is this?
Move the admission of 716.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. 716 evidence as redacted.
And Emmer, could you please tell the jury what this picture depicts?
What is that?
Yes, it's the business card that one of the police officers left for me in case I changed my mind and wanted to comment.
And were the pictures that we have just seen before this, were they taken before the pictures of the police card, the card that was left, after, or do you know?
Objection, compound,
It's not.
and calls for
Your
speculation.
Honor, compound is only.
Overruled.
Thank you.
We took pictures before, during, and after.
And the question I had for you is the pictures you've seen so far, were those taken before, at the time of this, before this card was presented to you and you took the picture, after, or do you know?
Some of them were, but without seeing all the timestamps, I can't tell exactly.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you to take this one down and go to 717.
I feel like Raquel's testimony would literally solidify and literally just make all this really, really hard to argue against. It's like a smoking gun
I'm going
almost.
to ask you, I'm going to move the admission of 717, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 717 is redacted in evidence. Published.
Thank you. And please just briefly describe to the jury what this is.
The two officers that first responded left me that card. This is the front of the business card they left.
Can you tell the jury, just explain what the interaction was that you had with the police officers, just describing what you observed as they came through?
I did not want to speak to them. I asked that Raquel's partner or husband ask them to go away without speaking to me.
And just so the jury understands, who was Raquel's fiance at that time?
His name is Josh Drew, and he and Raquel lived in the apartment at Johnny's Invitation across the hall from us. Raquel had keys. We kind of shared keys. They were our neighbors, but had keys to our house.
Okay. So why didn't you want to cooperate with the police?
Yo, big, insane 100 small rowboats, man.
Because I wanted to protect Johnny. I didn't want him to be arrested.
What?
I didn't want him to be in trouble. I didn't want the world to know.
Okay, that's cap. There's absolutely no shot.
I didn't want this to come out. I didn't want him to be in trouble. I didn't want this to be... I wanted to protect Johnny.
Let's go to Defendants Exhibit 1374.
Did he say right? Is that what you just said?
That's 1374.
Nothing negative. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't want to get into trouble, then takes all the pictures, documents the whole thing, and builds a stronger case.
Thank you.
Stronger. Sorry, I lack of better words.
All right, move the admission of 1374A, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
So?
1374 in evidence.
Well, it's okay. You
1374A.
should be allowed to do that. You should want to do
Thank you.
that. You should build as strong as you can.
And Amber, what is this?
But you can't say that you shouldn't
It's
protect it
another
at the same time.
picture of my face after
Doesn't add up.
Johnny threw the phone at it.
Okay. And then let's go to 1493T.
Am I not wrong?
And move the admission of 1493T.
No objection.
All right, 1493T in evidence.
And what does this depict?
This is a picture of my face after that incident. Perhaps
What was
by
that?
the lighting, it looks like it might have been taken the next day, but I can't tell for sure.
Okay. And then let's go to 1493S. And move the admission of 1493S.
No objection.
All right, 1493S in evidence. Published.
Michelle.
And what does this depict?
And this is another picture of my eye and side of my face.
Now, were there
It's
also
the same
pictures
picture.
taken of the property that you described Mr. Depp destroying or damaging?
Yes, there were.
Okay. Michelle, can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 700? And based on Your Honor's rulings, we will take off the metadata. Move the admission of Defendants Exhibit 700.
No objection with redaction.
700 with redactions. You can publish.
Can you please describe for the jury what's depicted in this
Yeah,
photo?
what the fuck is that?
Yes, my friend was preparing for a bead show and had displays to show these bead necklaces she made. And she needed some counter space in order to kind of set up the displays that she was going to use the next day. So she asked me earlier in the day if she could use the free counter space in that penthouse, penthouse 5, to kind of set up those display racks. They were set up in that room when Johnny went in there to destroy things, as he does.
And this depicts some of that damage?
Yeah, security let him in, even though I had asked
Objection, Your
security
Honor.
not to.
Speculation
I think I'm playing a game
don't think that
of
was
find the
and lack
error.
of foundation.
Oh, I'll sustain as a foundation if you want to.
Okay. So.
Find the six
what-
differences
what's
in
what's
3
depicted
minutes.
here? What's the damage that was done?
Well, because Johnny would always smash up my things and destroy my property. When he was mad at me, I had asked that they not let him in so that he could do that. I mean, the only purpose for him to be let into Penthouse 5 in that state, he doesn't have property in there. The only reason for him to go in there would be to destroy it. And they, of course, let him into Penthouse 5
Objection, Your
so
Honor.
that he could go.
Yes, ma'am.
Lack of foundation.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Just tell the jury what he did here that's depicted in this.
This is just a one corner of the room.
Well, I mean,
that
yeah, well,
shows the destruction.
I mean, it's
He
his
just
property.
Went in there with this bottle swinging and smashed a bunch of things.
Objection, Your Honor. This is speculation. She hasn't
I
established
mean,
that she was there.
I'm just to say, I would smash fucking
I'll
self-promo
sustain
dog
for
shit
my
racks in my
foundation,
house
so-
if you.
Okay. Did anybody else, to your knowledge, go in there and do this?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
I'm trying to lay the foundation here, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next
Well,
question.
let's do this. Never mind, we'll let somebody else tell who did it, okay?
Sure.
Just all I'm asking here is what is the damage? What has been done that's depicted here?
This is just one of Raquel's bead racks that he
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
I'll sustain the
All right,
objection.
let's go to 701.
Okay. Okay, Raquel. So when is Raquel coming?
Move the admission of 701.
With redaction, no objection.
All right, 701 with redactions and evidence.
Thank you. Amber, can you please describe what's depicted here?
Yeah, it is our bedroom in penthouse 3, the main penthouse. Looks like he was just throwing things.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll
Calls for
sustain
speculation.
the objection.
So just describe what you see here as opposed to what you say he did.
I see a bunch of art tossed on the bed.
Okay, where was that art before Mr. Depp was at your house on May 21,
It's not even
2000?
broken. It's not even damaged.
Hanging on the wall where it belongs.
Okay.
If you toss this, it would instantly break.
Defendant 702, please.
It would literally, if you toss this one on top of the other, at even a decent speed or velocity, it would just break.
Oh, Your Honor, and I forgot on the last two. For Defendants Exhibit 700, that was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon. It was Exhibit 39 to both of theirs. And Exhibit 701 was shown to Haddon only, and that was Exhibit 30 in his deposition.
Well, she's
I'll
only
move
worth.
the admission of 702, please.
Well, she's,
Any objection?
she's only worth 2.5 mil.
No objection.
All right, 702 with
Her-
redactions.
Thank you, Your Honor. And let the record reflect this was also shown to Officer Haddon as deposition exhibit number 40. And can you please describe for the jury what's depicted here?
Yes, it is broken glass from one of the broken pictures that were hanging on the wall.
And where is this physically?
This is in penthouse 5 on the stairwell.
Okay. Michelle, can you bring up defendant 703, please?
That's my monthly.
Move the admission of defendant 703.
No objection.
All right, 703 with redactions, you can publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. And let the record reflect that this was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as Exhibit 41 for both of their depositions. And Amber, please describe for the jury what's depicted here.
It's another photograph of the stairwell in the same apartment, Penthouse 5, which is the apartment where I kept my things.
Okay. And is that glass on the stairway?
Yes, from one of the broken picture frames on the wall. We had a lot of picture.
But there was
I
no
had a lot
broken
of picture
ones.
frames on the.
There was no
on the walls, and
What?
many, if not most of them, were smashed.
Okay.
None of them
Let's
were
take this one
broken.
down and go to 704, please, defendants. Michelle, thank you. Move the admission of defendant 704.
No objection.
All right, 704 with redactions, you can publish.
Thank you, and let the record reflect that this was shown to both Officer Sines and Haddon as Exhibit 34 to both their depositions. And Amber, please describe for the jury what's depicted here.
Just another piece of glass. It looks like the base of a wine glass. That is in Penthouse 3, the main apartment.
This chapter.
And when you say wine glass, did you see this particular glass?
There were glasses in the kitchen, and always. And when Johnny was walking out, I saw him myself swinging the magnum-sized bottle, and I could hear glass breaking and things falling.
Okay. Thank you. Michelle, can you bring up 705, please?
Magnum. She has this thing about magnum size.
Move the admission of 705.
No redaction. No, excuse me, no objection.
All right,
And let the
705 in evidence. with
Thank you,
redactions.
Your Honor.
Thank you, go ahead.
And let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Haddon in Exhibit 36 of his deposition. Amber, can you please describe for the jury what's portrayed here?
Things knocked over on the kitchen countertop, and I see pieces of broken glass on the countertop as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to 707.
That's it. Case closed. Why are we still here anyway? This is a landslide win for her. She wins. The mic? My brother. El micrófono.
Jury, what's depicted here?
This is the hallway leading leading up to the apartments. So this is the hallway that connects all of the apartments. It's kind of an indoor-outdoor sort of hallway, meaning it's covered, but it's exposed on the far ends of both to the elements. So this is not carpet. It's like
This looks like from the movie with the little
it's like
girls
a
with the.
plasticky, I don't know how to describe the material. It's like a plasticky kind of netting, not netting. It's difficult to describe, but it's a kind of an outdoor sort of carpet.
All right, and what's depicted there?
Wine on the floor and a little on the wall, it seems.
Okay. Let's go to 718, please.
Guys, I'm confused. Maybe I don't know. I know enough about law. I don't
The
get it.
admission of 718.
Why don't they
No
just
objection.
get
718
Raquel
with redactions and
to
evidence.
go on stand?
And let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon in Deposition Exhibit 31 for both of them. Amber, please describe for the jury what's depicted here.
It's another photograph on the floor, not the wall. This one appears to be remarkably unbroken.
Okay. Let's go to 719, please. Move the admission of defendant 719.
No objection.
All right, 719 with redactions. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And let the record reflect that this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon in their depositions, Exhibit 35 to both.
That's a pear and a banana.
And Amber, please just describe for the jury what's depicted here.
It's one corner of the kitchen in penthouse 3. Looks like one of the things that was knocked off of the kitchen island when Johnny left.
Okay. Let's go to defendant 720, please. Thank you, Michelle. Move the admission of defendant 720.
No objection.
All right, 720 with redactions.
720.
And let the record reflect, Your Honor, this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon, deposition Exhibit 43 to both. Amber, could you please describe to the jury what's depicted here?
That's
A
my
trash chair.
office. It's a corner of my office, and that is a box of like sentimental things,
This is
things
a
from my
$1,000 chair.
childhood or things that are important
I'll
to
let
me.
you know.
Keepsake box
This is
that
a $1,000 chair.
has been dumped out. It looks like.
Okay. Let's go to defendant 721.
Just kidding. I still live on the bus.
Move the admission of defendant 721.
No objection, Your Honor.
721 with redactions. Published.
Thank you, Your Honor. And let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon in deposition Exhibit 44 for both. Amber, please describe for the jury what this depicts.
It's again my office. Different, same thing, different angle.
Okay. Let's go to 722.
Okay. This is my room on a good day, but whatever.
Move the admission of defendants Exhibit 722.
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, 722 with redactions and evidence. Thank you.
And let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as deposition Exhibit 42 to both. Amber, please describe to the jury what's depicted here.
That's a picture of my friends and I when we were at that London house that Johnny punched.
Okay. You saw him punch this?
I heard it.
Okay. All right, let's go to 723, please.
Speculation, but whatever.
Move the admission of defendant 723.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 723 redacted in evidence.
Let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon in their depositions, Exhibit 38 for both. Amber, please describe for the jury what's reflected.
One of the, it looks like a Magnum bottle of wine
A magnum.
that is empty or spilled on the floor.
Can you tell where that is located?
It looks like it would be penthouse 5.
Okay. Let's go to 724.
Wait, is my cam over combos and it is actually. I'm sorry about that, chat. It's a glitch. Sorry. I fixed it. Should be fine now. Oh,
Move the admission of defendant 724.
sorry. I didn't know.
No objection.
All right, 724 with redactions. Thank you.
And let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon as their deposition Exhibits 33. Amber, please tell the jury what's depicted here.
This is more wine that Johnny was spilling as he was using the bottle he was holding as a bat of sorts.
What?
Let's go to 725.
What? It wasn't even broken.
We're almost done, just two more. Promise. Move the admission of defendant 725.
No
All
objection.
right, 725 with redactions.
Let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon as Deposition Exhibit 37 to their depositions.
Still done.
Amber, please tell the jury what's depicted here.
More spilled wine on the floor. This looks like Penthouse 5.
That's the same picture as earlier.
Okay. And last but not least, Michelle, please, defendants 726.
I mean, the evidence is it's kind of a joke.
Move the admission of.
No objection.
Okay.
Your Honor, I believe the jury needs a tissue.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
We will get a tissue. You got some? Thank you, Halisa. All right, no objection, 726 with redactions. Thank you.
Huh? Okay, dude.
All right, and let the record reflect that this one was shown to Officer Hines and Haddon as Deposition 32 exhibit to their depositions. And Amber, please just describe to the jury what's depicted here.
More spilled wine on the floor. Penthouse 3 appears.
Okay, thank you. Now, when the police officers were there, did either of them take you aside by yourself and talk with you?
Yes.
Which one, or both?
The male officer I did not have much interaction with. The female officer said she needed to speak to me by myself, pulled me aside. We went into Penthouse 3, the main penthouse, to speak there because I had been in Penthouse 1, Raquel and Josh's apartment up until that moment.
Okay, and then what, if anything, did she ask you?
She asked me if I would make a statement, if I would cooperate. She kind of indicated to me, I don't remember if it was what word she said, but she kind of gestured to my face and.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I think she could, if she gesturing to her face is not hearsay,
I'll
it's not a statement.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay, and it's also not offered to prove the truth of the matter.
I'll sustain the
Okay,
objection. Next one.
so what happened next?
What?
Let's do this. How long were you with the officer when she took you aside?
A few minutes, if that.
Okay. And as a result of that, did you cooperate?
No, I did not, but it was my understanding that I couldn't stop them from walking through the apartment, which is what they indicated to me.
Okay. And were you with them when they walked through the apartment?
No, Josh, I was with them at the beginning of Penthouse 3. Josh, Raquel's partner, took over from there and showed them around the house up through Penthouse 3, which connects on the top floor to the neighboring apartment, Penthouse 4, and then on to Penthouse 5. They all connect on the top level. So Josh walked the officers through the house.
Jesus, this is like a badass property.
What, if anything, did you say about the identity of Mr. Depp?
Nothing.
Were you asked?
Yes.
But you refused to tell them?
Objection leading.
Sustain.
Okay. Why did you refuse to tell the police officers Mr. Depp's identity?
Because I did not want them to arrest Johnny. I did not want this to happen. I did not want any of this to happen. I didn't want to get him in trouble.
That's cap.
So I said, well, I just refused to cooperate.
Okay.
No, that's major
Now,
cappuccino.
Approximately how long were the police officers there?
I don't recall exactly, maybe, I'd say less than half an hour. I really don't know exactly, but they weren't there very long at all.
Okay. Now, after the police officers left, what did you do?
We cleaned up a bit because there was broken glass and we had dogs. So
Tampering.
we tried to clean up the mess, and especially the glass. And Josh, Rocky, Liz, and I, we kind of just cleaned up and eventually sat on the couch, and they just tried to comfort me.
It's crazy because I think they tried to denounce the cleanup
What, if any, knowledge
of
did
Australia
you have
House,
that there was
right?
going to be
When there was
a second
evidence.
set of
But
officers?
then she says,
coming
"Oh, we're
later
just cleaning
that
up
night?
that house."
I didn't
when
know
it's
about that. That surprised me.
When did you learn that a second set of officers?
That's kind of
were coming
ass
to
backwards.
The penthouse that night.
I think I learned about it when they were there, when they arrived.
Okay. And we've seen the body-worn video on that. Is there anything that you recall outside of what was reflected on Officer Gateland's body-worn video?
I couldn't see much of what was on that video. I just,
Yeah, I know.
I remember being surprised that they were there, not really knowing why they were there. I assumed it was because I was encouraged to make a statement by the first set of officers.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
All right, I'll
Just keep
sustain
going
objection.
forward. Okay.
And
Cross
I
is
was
gonna
sitting on the
smoke
couch.
this
It
up.
was sometime, hours, maybe between an hour, 2 hours, maybe more. I don't really recall, but we had cleaned up and we were resting, and they were comforting me when they came. And they didn't seem to. They didn't do what the first set of officers did. They just kind of came into the apartment, confirmed that that I was okay, or that we were okay. They didn't
This
really
is
seem
Arena
to
1.
be that concerned, and they didn't demand to do a walkthrough like the first set of officers had, and they left.
Okay. And what, if any, cooperation did you give them?
Well, I didn't need to. I didn't really cooperate with them. I didn't talk to them. I didn't even get up off the couch. I was speaking to them from a quite a bit of a distance, like between you and I, and maybe more. And I didn't really say anything. I just kind of acknowledged that they entered, and that was it.
Did you provide them with Mr. Depp's name?
No way.
Did they ask?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take you to the next day, May 22. And I'm going to, Michelle, can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 772? What, if any, efforts did Mr. Depp make to reach out to you the day after this happened?
Well, he made several efforts. Immediately, he kind of reached out and lashed out. Again, kind of going on what seems to be slightly delusional, thinking that just because he saw my friend's beads out on the countertop that it had become a workshop or a studio for her. So he seemed angry about, this perception that this bead display that my friend had set up was evidence of her running some sort of workshop. And he also accused us of having invited someone else to live there who wasn't living there, who was just in the apartment when Johnny stormed in. So he just kind of lashed out, and then the tone changed in the days that followed.
And let me stop you there. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendants Exhibit 772. And is this a text message from Mr. Depp to you?
Yes, it is.
And it's on 5/22 at 12:23 a.m. So it's early morning hours after 5/21. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant 772.
No objection.
All right, 772, and evidence would be identified as
Show me.
redacted and published. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, and I know you started to talk about this, Amber, but it says, I'm an idiot, PH5 is Rocky's studio. You are shameless. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, was that what you were talking about with him thinking that you're,
Yes.
okay.
He said it.
And then.
He said it.
obviously, we can read that he says, I tried to make it work. You just turned more and more into a spoiled brat. All you wanted was to make me fucking miserable. Well, I'm finally there. I'll never be able to understand how I fell in love with you. You're not her. I loved you more than anything. I did everything that I could, but you never fucking loved me. I was merely convenient for you. I hope our divorce goes as quickly as possible and that it is as painless as possible.
How
so
is
sorry
that
you were as
anything?
unhappy with me as you were. Obviously, the purity of whatever was has been gone for a long time. I will miss the moments of beauty and truth. Goodbye, Amber. What the fuck was I thinking? I wish you all you merit. The former him. What, if any, discussions did you have with Mr. Depp about divorce
that helps
that
them.
night?
We did not have a discussion about that that evening. We didn't have time. He was obsessed with dog poop.
Okay.
That's what he wanted to talk about.
All right, let's take this down and let's go to Defendants Exhibit 773.
Wait, it's dog poop? That's caparoni.
Now, this is a text exchange between you and Mr. Depp. It starts with Mr. Depp on 5/21 at 6:58 p.m. just saying here. Does that refresh your recollection of when he arrived at your penthouse on May 21?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next series are on 5/22. They start at 5:13.
So why didn't you read the first part when it says that you were ready to
discussing
strike him?
talking, you said, sorry, I'm just leaving Amanda's birthday now. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
It
All
seems
right.
like maybe
And
it's
then
an ambush.
he responds to that, correct?
Yes.
All right, Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of Defendant 773.
Your Honor, if we could just have a minute to review this exhibit.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it just this page?
No, there's
3 pages.
3 pages.
I'm just reading Michelle's hands.
Guys, I like her, but she's kind of jumpy a little bit. And earlier she slammed, which, I don't know. It's content, you could slam, but in court, I don't know. She literally slammed. I'm not kidding, she actually did. They were doing objections, and she went like this. Boom. No fart, no, she's kind of a rookie.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 773 in evidence with identifiers for Dackett. Thank you.
Thank you.
Green bubbles.
And if we could, okay, we've got it published to the jury. So let's go to the top, Michelle. And so it starts out with him, this is the 5/21, 6:58 p.m. saying he's there, correct?
Yeah, but I think he came in later than that. Took him some time.
Okay. And then if we move up, the next one is you at 5:22 at 5:13 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And then you say, thank you, and then can we still speak in a min? What do you recall of why you sent those texts?
I believe we had spoken on the phone. Or I can't control this, correct? The screen. I don't know.
We can give you control, yes. Maybe we should do that and clear out my purples.
I just don't know what was sent right before this.
Go ahead. Your Honor, can we
She can't scroll. She's asking to scroll.
Okay, Michelle, let's have you scroll if you can. Just go ahead and scroll through just slowly so she can read the whole thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
If she's just gonna read and cry, what the fuck is happening?
All right, does that help refresh your recollection?
Yes, I believe that I believe he had apologized to me after the phone incident. I had commitments that I had to attend the following day on the 22nd. So the beach show I referenced, I mentioned to you, I had to go to. I also had to bring a cake to a friend's birthday party. So I had things I unfortunately had to do that day. And I remember there was communication with Johnny, both by phone and by text, where he was telling me that he was clean, that he was sober, he was clear mind, it wasn't the monster, and that he was so sorry. But I had already committed to filing for divorce. And eventually I have to let him know that it's not just saying it in the anger, in the fights that like we had done, you know, both he and I did that at times in some of our fights, especially towards the end of our relationship. And so I let him know that I was serious about filing this time, and that I had had enough after the phone.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I had enough.
Okay.
Overruled, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to draw your attention to the bottom of the page, Defendants Exhibit 773, and this is at 5:22, so this is 6:19 p.m. Do you see that? 5:22? And he says, just let me know when you have a minute, and I'll give you a call. Nothing I have to say. You should elicit anything but a sense of ease. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then he says, all my love and profound apologies.
Okay.
What was he apologizing for?
Objection,
Do you
calls
know?
for speculation.
True.
What was your understanding of what he was apologizing for?
Speculation, Your Honor.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. In your
Guys,
phone call
surely
with you,
they have
did
a
he tell you what he
smoking
was
gun incoming.
apologizing for?
Yes.
What did he say?
He was sorry that he reacted the way he did. He said he didn't mean to hurt me. He didn't mean to hurt me. If he really hurt me that bad, he's sorry. That he didn't mean to.
Okay. Michelle, if we can go to the next page,
Let's see it.
up to the green, please.
Whenever I feel
And
like it,
he
I'm
says
sad.
here,
I'm scared. I'm broken.
I'm sad, I'm scared, and I'm broken, my sweet Slim. And then he says, I want you happy. I have zero harsh feelings. I am clear and I am me. What did you understand him to mean by I am clear and I am me?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Do you
I
have
know
an
what he
understanding?
meant.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Did
there's
he
a
use that phrase with you?
I'll hold on. I'll sustain that objection.
I'm
You
trying to
next-
get to the
Yeah, I
next
know.
one
Then
here.
you can ask your next question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Did he use those phrases with you during your marriage?
Yes, he did.
What did Mr. Depp mean when he says I am clear and I am me?
objection, calls for speculation.
I think I established the foundation.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Thank you.
That he had sobered up. That he had sobered up and he was not the monster again, that he was him. That he was a good guy I loved. The one that I trusted.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to ask, Michelle, if you can take that one down and bring in 771, which has already been admitted. Now, those text exchanges were in the
Wait.
6 o'clock to almost 7 o'clock range.
Where's this looking gun at? I thought it was gonna be.
And here, it's 5:22, it's now 8 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
And he's telling you, sorry if a bit, please know that my hurt towards you is over. My apologies are eternal and belong to you. Solid. Do you see that?
Yes.
X.
And was it your understanding he was apologizing again?
Who talks like that,
Objection, Your
boomers?
Honor.
My dad talks
Calls for
exactly like that.
speculation.
Exactly like
Sustain
that.
the objection.
Okay.
Dot, dot,
Was
dot.
there anything else he would have
Exclamation,
been apologizing
exclamation,
for that he had
exclamation.
done?
Objection
Caps.
calls for speculation.
Sustain the objection.
Just boomers. It's boomer talk.
That's it. Okay. So, tell the jury how you felt in that week, May 22 through May 27, and what you decided to do.
At the time, it felt like the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I had worked so hard to try to make this relationship work. I went to therapy and went to Al-Anon. I got help. I read books. I did everything I could possibly do, and it didn't work.
But did you get a dog though?
And I was conflicted. To answer your question, I was conflicted. I knew after he threw the phone at my face that after all that month of not seeing each other, not getting better, not getting clean and sober, there wasn't even, I didn't, it was falling apart. I knew I had to leave him. I knew I wouldn't survive it if I didn't. So I made the decision to file for divorce. It was hard because, I loved Johnny so much. I loved him so much.
Okay. What the fuck?
And why did you file for
What the
divorce?
fuck?
Because I knew if I didn't, I'd likely not literally survive. I've been so scared that it was going to end really badly for me. And I really didn't want to leave him. I loved him so much. I would have done anything, but I couldn't do that one thing. I couldn't stay. The promise and the hope that I had become less and less regular and more rare. The monster had been this thing that was now the normal and not the exception. The violence was now normal and not the exception. And it was so hard. It was so hard, but I knew I had to do it. I believe he would have taken it too far. I wouldn't be here.
Tears?
Why did you ask for a domestic violence temporary restraining order?
Where's Aquaman?
I wanted to change my locks. I wanted to change my locks.
Your locks?
I wanted a good night's sleep. Security would always let him into the house no matter what I asked them. No matter when I begged them to let me know when he was coming over, no matter how much I begged them not to let him in when he was mad or drunk or high. And I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in a panic. I was losing hair. I was losing weight. I got really sick. I had shingles. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in a panic attack. I had panic attacks all the time. I was falling apart. I was scared and very conflicted because the person I was scared of is also the person I was in love with. Really, really tricky. And I was thinking one step at a time. I was thinking very
not funny. I'm not laughing.
myopically. I wanted just to get a good night rest, a good night's sleep. I just wanted to change my locks.
I had shingles
Thought
once.
it'd be
No
healthier
joking.
if I got some sleep and I could think about what to do or how to handle this. if I just could sleep. And when I did, I realized that that wasn't enough, that he could get in any way, that the building wasn't going to stop him from getting a locksmith and coming in. I knew that he would do what he wanted.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Well, also, it sucks, but I think he also owns the property, so I don't know.
So, did Mr. Depp show up for the hearing on the DVTRO?
No, he didn't.
Did you?
Yes, I
Just
did.
rent an apartment?
And why did you show up?
Because I had to provide testimony for why I needed a restraining order.
What, if any, warning did you give Mr. Depp about obtaining the DVTRO?
No, literally.
We gave him warning. My counsel and his counsel were in communication, and we let them know. We had to. It was mandatory. It's my understanding of it. I'm not a lawyer.
Was there any confusion surrounding whether Mr. Depp was
She
going to
established
file
residence.
suit
She has
as
her
well?
own rights, her own house.
Objection, Your Honor,
Yeah, but change the
calls for
locks.
speculation,
You can use that-
lack of
You
foundation.
can use that as,
Just
as an
use
argument
foundation.
to change the locks.
Did you have any confusion as to whether Mr. Depp was going to file as well?
So I filed for divorce on the 23rd, I believe, and I thought that when I went in that Tuesday, when we filed for it, remarkably, it managed to stay under the radar. You know, these filings are not private. You can't make them private in California.
Yep.
And remarkably, it had flown under the radar. No one picked up on the fact that I had filed, and as limited as it sounds now, I just wanted as much privacy as we could have. You know, one day at a time, I wanted as much privacy as we could possibly get.
Why?
And the filing had been missed by TMZ and, you know, these paparazzi outlets and stuff. But between the communications between our counsel, I realized that Johnny was going to file in
Objection,
retaliation.
hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
I'm trying to think how to ask this. So, without saying what the counsel said, what was your understanding and what was your concern?
Objection, hearsay.
So she posed a public op-ed and then
All right, well,
wants
let's move on.
privacy and
Michelle,
divorce.
can you bring up Defendants Exhibit 800, please?
That makes literally no sense. Her filing for divorce and whatever, wouldn't that go
Move the
hand in
admission of
hand?
Defendants Exhibit 800.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 800 in evidence, publish.
Amber, can you describe for the jury what this picture is?
It literally empowers what she
A
stands
picture
for.
of my face while I'm
Or
sitting
so
at
she
the
says.
courthouse.
And were you wearing any makeup?
I was wearing nothing, not a stitch of makeup.
Michelle, can you bring up 801, please?
No, I get it. So
Move the admission of
they
801.
cohabit,
No objection.
801 in evidence.
right? We can't make it an argument that you want to change the locks. Because otherwise it doesn't
Amber,
make
if you
sense.
can Tell the jury what
For
this is.
cohabitation, if you change locks in your own house for somebody that also
Me while I
owns
was,
it.
Obtaining my restraining order to be in the courthouse.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do while you were at the courthouse? Did you testify?
Oh, I provided testimony and sat there and cried.
And did you obtain a domestic violence restraining order? Temporary
I
restraining order?
did. The court granted me a restraining order at that time.
And how did that
When
go?
you left the courthouse,
And how did that go?
what did you experience?
I walked into the courthouse. It was quiet. First thing in the morning. No one knew about my divorce, so I thought it was going to stay that way. And I walked out to a sea of paparazzi and cameras,
Relevance?
photographers.
Relevance?
It was, to that point, at that point in my life, had never seen so many photographers, and they just surrounded me as I walked out of that courthouse and screamed at me, screamed horrible things at me.
These are all third parties, randoms. How can you use the actions of random
I'm gonna take you
mosquitoes?
just for a moment to makeup, and then that would put
Okay,
after
good break
that.
point. Okay, great.
That'll be
All right,
a
thank
good
you.
breaking point after the makeup. You
Yes.
said that you didn't testify. You didn't wear any makeup that day. We've heard all kinds of things about makeup in this case. Could you please tell the jury what your regular routine was with respect
Shut
to makeup?
the fuck up.
Yes, I get up and wash my face like most of us, and I put on right away a moisturizer that has tinted foundation in it. And then I put another foundation on because it has sunblock in it. I have a skin condition that my skin reacts to the sun in a bad way.
Oh, wait a minute.
So I have to wear sunscreen or sunblock every day. Anyway, so I put on both of those. I put on concealer, and I do that before I leave my bathroom in the morning. That's obviously if I don't have a bruise.
Now, when you had bruises or cuts of any nature, what would you do about those? Would you try to cover them up? Would you try to just leave them showing? What would you do?
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Overruled on that.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Well, I'm typically photographed in LA when I leave the house, paparazzi type of photograph. So I'm somewhat aware of that anyway. And no woman wants to walk around with a bruise on her face.
She's not that cool. Relax.
So if I do have a bruise on my face or someplace visible, the main thing, you have to ice right away to reduce swelling because no amount of makeup can fix swelling, but it's very manageable if you ice it really soon. Arnica is also a great remedy, arnica cream. And then if you want to cover up a bruise, you obviously put foundation first, concealer, and then on top of that, I used
some powder.
Bruise kit. Not a bruise kit, it's a theater makeup kit, a color correction kit, but I called it my bruise kit.
And let me, I use this, I think, in opening statement, and it's Defendants Exhibit 155.
If you could by the microphone, please.
Oh.
We can't hear you. There you go.
May I approach the witness to?
That's what you could show counsel.
Guys, what's a bruise kit?
This is what I was talking about as a color correction kit. This is not obviously the exact one I used to carry, but I used to carry it with me all the time. Sometimes this pink is sometimes a little bit more purple of a hue, and sometimes the kits are 3 colors. You can get them in 3 or 4 colors. Sometimes they have even more. But the idea is that you want to counteract whatever color you're working with on the bruise.
What is
so
this?
First day of bruising.
It's a marketing pitch.
Well, the immediate is red. Red is what shows up right away. So you want to go with the opposite on the color wheel by dabbing on a bit of the green or something to counteract
Jesus.
red. After a day or 2, you get more purple in a bruise. So you'd obviously have to go with more of the red tones, the orange tones here. Day 2 for me was always the trickiest because day 2 just
I think this is weird and inconvenient,
hardest for
and
me
for that
because that's
reason,
when you get the most
I'm
blues
out.
and purples.
Sorry.
And you have to deal with the sensitivity. Bruises don't like to be touched. That's the whole point. So that's the trickiest part. But after a few days, that becomes more of that blue becomes more of a brown, yellowish browns, like 5-7 days in, becomes more of a yellow green, and then fades into a brown, and then into your skin.
Could you use it to make fake ones?
Whatever color you're working with in the bruise, you want to go opposite color on the color wheel. The opposite. In the first couple of days when you have more of the typical bruise color, the blues and the purples, you want to go more of the orange.
Guys, I had advanced art classes.
The color wheel.
This checks out. This checks out.
Start with, and then it progresses from there. I also noticed that bruising on your face tends to heal a lot faster than, at least for me, it was faster healing than bruises on my body, or at least it seemed like that to me. And a nose is pretty much unrecognizable after a day or two, depending on how much you ice it. Lips are the hardest because they crack and bleed, of course. But it's easy to hide with lipstick if you're a woman.
Wow,
Or,
that's
if
a
you
whole
wear
tutorial.
Lipstick, I suppose.
Jesus.
We heard some testimony of people in the week of May 21st to 27th saying that you didn't wear a stitch of makeup. Oh, was that true?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
They just don't know what they're talking about. I always wear makeup.
You always wear makeup?
I mean, it's part of my bathroom routine in the morning. Wash my face. I put on moisturizer. My moisturizer has tinted foundation in it, and I'm certainly not going to walk around LA with bruises on my face.
Okay. I think this
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our lunch recess at this time. Again, did
Why
not do any
not?
outside research and do not discuss the case with anybody. And we'll see you in an hour, okay? Thank you. Court is still in session, so please be quiet in the gallery. Thank you.
I'm not setting up. Okay, I'm ordering some lunch as well. Where's the phone at? I need to get my phone anyway, so yeah, sure, I'll stand up.
All right. And again, Ms. Hurd, since you're still under oath and testifying, you cannot discuss this case to include with your attorneys, okay? In your testimony. All right. Let's come back then at 1:40. Okay? All right, thank you. 1:40.
Guys, it's lunch break. Guys, I found this dank ass new song. Listen to this one. Listen to this.
驸马郎的旗帜王啊，满皇上的徽儿随了整个当朝，金钱看齐，墙上写着秦香莲的30儿随了整个当朝，驸马郎的旗帜王啊，满皇上的徽儿随了整个当朝，金钱看齐，墙上写着秦香莲的30儿随了整个当朝，驸马郎的旗帜王啊，满皇上的徽儿随了整个当朝，金钱看齐，墙上写着。
Okay. What else? Where are we at today, boys? Okay. Chad, do we know if they're gonna start cross today or not? I don't think they can, right? I don't think they can cross. They can start cross in the middle of a single day, right? They have to give it a full reset, correct? What is this?
Period of time in which I had to fall in love with Johnny, in which we fell in love and he was sober.
That was interesting. Okay. I'm ordering some
I wasn't
lunch.
so early in the relationship and still stayed. He was also.
Well, I want to check some stuff before. Hold up.
2012.
Guys, I think I missed some stuff.
For us.
Nah, I want to talk about some stuff though.
So I had kind
Wait,
of
I have questions for Chad though.
myself, I guess, to forget that the beginning of that period.
Guys,
2012,
I want to know
before
more
the
information.
October was
So when cross happens, I'm more equipped to understand it.
I'm embarrassed to say.
Okay? Okay.
Testified that the police were called.
First question. Why is Raquel not why is she not being brought up? Why is she not why is she not gonna go on stand?
2012. They were called in 2013 in March by the landlord.
Is it because not yet?
I had sought advice from Laurel Anderson as to whether I should call the police.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustain.
Okay. When you filed the domestic violence temporary restraining order, how many acts of abuse did you allege at that time?
I gave The last couple, I believe.
It's not an imaginary friend. She's real, I'm
Last
thinking.
2 incidents. Maybe
Not
3.
yet her turn.
And why didn't you tell of all the acts of abuse at that time?
I was following advice from my counsel.
Okay. How
Okay.
many instances of abuse were included in the UK trial?
There were 14.
Next
acts
question
of
is,
physical abuse and violence, and 3 acts of sexual abuse. Violence.
And why were those 17 included in the UK trial?
Well, I was not a party, a direct party. I was a witness, so it was whatever
Guys,
their counsel.
Okay,
assigned
also,
counsel
also,
chose.
chat, guys, here's a problem that I have. Here's a problem that I currently have, okay, with this. Okay? Here's a question I have. Here's an inquiry that I have. Okay? One of the issues I currently have with this whole ordeal is when it comes down to the actual abuse, whatever,
Loving the streams.
it
At
seems
Salt
like
Juice.
um
XQCL.
there's like a evidence becomes kind of weird and whatever. What? No, it's a good question. It's a good question. It seems like the details are insane. The memory is purely fully recollected when it comes down to the abuse, but then evidence or recordings are seemingly a little inconclusive, or sometimes don't match the story. Which is one of my problems, is that I want to hear the stories. I want to hear what she has to say. I want to see, but sometimes it doesn't match whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, and you know what would be good here? A witness. If a witness came through, right? Security guard, Raquel, right? Or whatever. But then they don't. Why not? If we had anything tangible, it would go hard. No? Guys, wouldn't that be called a smoking gun in that field? Literally a smoking gun? If you had a witness go on under oath and say, yeah, I had to block the hits because she was getting pummeled or whatever. Boom. GG. Literally. GG. So why don't they come? I know they cannot have 2 witnesses at the same time, but is it in the plans or in the schedule to have them? Because they're about to do cross or whatnot. Oh, I guess she goes first because it's her side, and then they do cross on her and the other people, and then cross on them. I guess that's how it's gonna work then. So is she scheduled to go on trial on fucking stat? I'm not watching. No, I'm not watching Clash Royale top plays. I'm not watching that.